Hey, what's going on, guys? Purple Slushy here, bringing you today's build video. Today's build video is an update on my Succession Sorcerer. Since the last patch has dropped, there's been a couple new updates to the CP, and also a couple of the skills have changed. So, going over my stats right off the bat, I'm sitting at 48,300 max Magicka, 22k health, almost 10k stam, 2700 spell damage, 1470 recovery, and 42% crit. I'm using the Atronach, and I'm also using dual stat food. Now, going over the sets that I'm using 3-piece Kags. 3-piece Kags gives you max Magicka and magic recovery. I have a Nirnhound enchantment on my staff. It's just a really good trait. It's probably the best trait that you can get on weapons that you craft yourself for a Magicka character. I also have a disease enchantment in the staff. This is going to decrease or debuff people's healing by 15%. For the other two pieces of Kags that I'm wearing one heavy on my chest and one medium on the feet. The reason why I'm using one medium, one heavy is I have the Undaunted passive. When you get to Undaunted 9, that's going to give you 2 passives, and what it does is it increases your max health, stamina, and Magicka by 2% per type of armor, whether that's heavy, medium, or light. My current bonus is 6%, so when you're a Magicka character, what you want to do is you want to run 5 light, 1 medium, 1 heavy to get the most out of that passive. I'm wearing 5 pieces of Succession. What Succession does is it gives me max Magicka, spell damage, max Magicka. While in combat, you gain a rotating bonus to either flame, shock, or frost damage. The active element changes every 4 seconds. Your attacks dealing damage with that element gain an additional 515 spell damage. So that's really OP, really good for your Force Shock, because your Force Shock or your Force Pulse is all 3 elements in one. And I will show you guys how the set works when I'm done showing you the abilities and my CP. So I'm using 3-piece Willpower on top of all that. That gives you max Magicka, 186 extra spell damage, and I have 3 Kuda enchantments on all my jewelry that each add 174 extra spell damage. Now it looks like I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces of infused, 1 divines. So that's how I'm getting a lot of max Magicka out of this build. Then going over my abilities. So my front bar, I got Force Pulse, Inner Light, Crystal Frags, Bounded Geas, Hardened Ward, and Shooting Star. Now, Inner Light's not a toggle anymore with the new patch, so you don't have to run it on both bars. That's why I only have it on my front bar. Bounded Geas is still a toggle, so you do have to have it on all 3 of your bars: your front bar, your back bar, and also your overload bar. The reason why I use Shooting Star is because it's really OP. It gives you 12 ultimate for every enemy that you have hit. So what I like to do is I like to group people up and then drop a Shooting Star, and it'll give me overload. Normally it'll give me enough ultimate to get my overloads, and I can finish them off with overload. My back bar, I got Power Surge. I know a lot of people use Entropy with the staff build. With the staff build, you want to use Power Surge. Reason being, Entropy is going to give you 20% damage on your next attack within 5 seconds of casting a Mage's Guild ability. So say you cast Entropy, then if you were to use a Crystal Frag after that, it would give that Crystal Frag 20% more damage. But I'm not using Curse, and I'm not using Inevitable Debt, and Entropy would help me out tremendously if I was using those two. But since I'm only using Force Pulse and Crystal Frags, I'm not going to Entropy before every Force Pulse and Entropy before every Crystal Frag. I know I could do it for my Shooting Star, but I don't use my ultimate that often. And Power Surge is just going to help me out a lot more, because while active, your critical strikes will heal you for 40% of the damage done. Dot damage does not proc this effect, but I'm not using any dots. So since I have such high Magicka, I'm going to be doing a lot of damage, DPS, so I'm going to want to take advantage of that 40% extra healing. The rest of the abilities on my Resto staff, I got Healing Ward, Streak, Bounded Geas, Harness Magicka, and Overload. In my Overload bar, I have Daedric Minefield, Boundless Storm, and Hardened Ward. Now for my resto staff, I'm just using the Maelstrom resto staff for the extra crit. I might make a Kags resto staff just so I get that extra recovery on my back bar. I'm not sure yet. I'm probably gonna do that. And going over my CP, I have 66 into the Magician, 73 into Arcanist, 28 into Tumbling. I find this really useful, just being able to break out of CC a lot. It just helps you out a lot in battle. 100 into Elemental Expert, 20 into Elfborn, and 47 into Staff Expert. I have none in the Thaumaturge because I'm not using any dots. Besides, I think my Meteor might be a dot, but my Meteor hits hard enough where I don't really need any into that. And I'm not using Curse or Proxy, so I don't need any into Thaumaturge. So I got 34 into Hardy, 33 into Elemental Defender. I just split those up evenly, and then I got 100 into Bastion. Now I am using dual stat foods with this build. With dual stat food, it's giving me 48,000 max magicka. If I was to use tri-stat food, I would sit at 47,000 max magicka, but I'd have 14k stam. So this is normally what I do for PvP, is run tri-stat food. But just to show you guys how much magicka you can get with this build, I have on dual stat food. So I'm going to go down here and show you guys how this set works. Alright, so let me buff up. So when I get into battle, it's going to start out on the flame. So see, now I have 515 extra spell damage to flame. Now it's on the shock. And then it's going to go to the ice. So when it's on the shock, I'll show you guys how much damage the overloads do. So it's on flame right now. Now it's on shock. One shot at him, 26k, 15k. It's on fire, so it's gonna switch to shock here in a second. Oh, maybe not. Alright, so now it's on, I think it's on shock. Now it's on ice, then it's gonna go to flame. I want to show you guys my tooltip of overload while it's in the shock stage. So the tooltip on overload is 20,600. If I put entropy on my bar, it will be a lot higher. Let me see. If I were to use entropy before one of my overloads, so it's on flame, then it's gonna go to shock. 24,600. So it's a really high DPS overload. Let me throw on entropy back on, and then I just want to show you guys one more thing. I'm going to show you guys what your force pulse looks like on tooltip when you have the flame or what one of the elements procced. So see how my flame is higher damage than my cold, and my cold and my shock are the same. That's because the flame damage is getting the extra 515 extra spell damage, and it will also give my heavy attacks more spell damage because it's flame when it's on the flame stage. Same thing if it's on ice, it's gonna give extra damage to the ice but not to the flame into the shock. But with force pulse, you're always getting that extra damage with succession because it's all three elements in one. So I hope you guys liked this video. I hope you guys like this set. You get this set from running Maelstrom Arena, just from the chests after each round. It's kind of random on the pieces that you get. Try to run infused if you're going to run this build, because you're going to hit harder with as much max magicka as possible. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like, comment, and subscribe, and see ya.